Hey everybody, this is Rycard here again, bringing you the next installment of my black and white Pokemon analysis. Today we're going to be looking at this odd mushroom Pokeball Pokemon known as Morobareru, which is essentially the black and white generation's spore user. So let's take a look at some of its abilities and its stats. So first off, this Pokemon is a grass and poison type, which is common typing generally in most of the other generations. So it's nothing new. It's pretty good typing. It's weak against fire, flying, psychic, etc. Like you know it by now. It has two unique abilities to it, which are Effect Spore, which at least according to Cerebi only has a 10% chance of causing paralysis, sleep, or poison, but I think they might be wrong in that sense because I don't understand why the fifth generation would nerf this, especially since like nobody has it in the previous generations. So I'm pretty sure it's still a 30%, and that must have been like a typo or something. But its other ability, which can be found only in the dream world, is Regeneration, which is a really awesome new ability that a bunch of Pokemon get. And essentially, every time you switch this Pokemon back into your party, so like it's out on the field and then you switch it for something else, it regenerates a third of its health. So this is great because you can essentially just like switch it in to do whatever it needs to and then switch it back out and it be as if it didn't actually gain or lose any health, I mean, and it'll be back on full health, hopefully, or something close to it. Which also makes it very useful because then things like spikes and stealth rocks don't really have that big of an effect because you can just regenerate the health back. As for its stats, they're kind of mediocre, but they are they can be played very well if you kind of make this Pokemon a one job kind of thing. Like, you can either make it able to be defensive in one area, or you can put a lot of EVs into its attack or special attack since they are the same base and hope to do a lot of damage with it. So it's kind of like a linear Pokemon. You're not expecting to do a lot of different things with it. It has 114 base HP, which is a lot. So that's probably going to be its most prominent stat that's going to be maxed out to make sure it can take as much hits as possible. Um, it also has 85 attack and 85 special attack, meaning that you can go either way with the attacking side. You can either go physical or special. Unfortunately though, it doesn't really get as many good physical moves as it does special moves, or at least once they get stabbed, because there aren't any grass or poison moves that it gets that are on the physical side. But you do get things like payback, which can be very helpful since you have your low speed, so it will almost always be a 100 base power dark type move, which is awesome. Its defense is alright. 70 defense doesn't really amount to much, but if you take into account its typing, which can resist a lot of different things, especially like common fighting types that are used, having a bunch of EVs into defense can make this a pretty good physical wall if you know how to play it correctly and max out its HP at the same time. As for its special defense, it's slightly better than its defense, and it pretty much has like the same effect. If you're worried about special moves on your team, you could, along with your HP, max out its special defense. But in my opinion, having higher defense is better than special defense because there are more physical sweepers around for the most part. So it will always usually come in or more in handy to have higher defense. And as for its speed, 30 base speed, which you're not going to be outspeeding anything. So luckily, this Pokemon does learn Stun Spore, so that could be put into your advantage, but as you will see in a couple of sets that I'm gonna start showing after I finish this part, I actually didn't put it in anything, but I'm sure someone else could figure out like a good strategy to use with Stun Spore to make use of its bad speed. So let's take a look at a couple sets that this Pokemon might be able to utilize effectively in this generation. This first set is kind of like a physical wall slash I'm never gonna die Pokemon. It has a bold nature, meaning it has increased defense and decreased attack, but since you won't be using any its physical moves, you're good. Its ability Regeneration will obviously help it stay alive because it recovers a third of your health every time you switch back in, or switch out, as I said before. EVs 252 HP and 252 defense, essentially to have max HP and max defense, making you take a lot of physical hits, and then the 4 defense or special defense EVs are there to give you 1 more point. Can't see how that would matter though. And then the item of choice is obviously going to be leftovers because with high HP and high defense, having a move or having an item that can recover HP is always necessary. As for its moveset, Spore is the obvious move because it is the one Pokemon in this generation that learns it, and having the chance to induce sleep 100% of the time is awesome. Also, just to make note of something, the sleep counter in this game is different. Basically, each time you put a Pokemon to sleep, it has a certain number of turns that it's going to be asleep for. Now, in previous generations, that amount of sleep was effective no matter if you switched out or whatever. So if you had a Pokemon that was going to be asleep for 3 turns, and you kept it in for 1 turn, switched out, and then switched back in, normally you would only have 2 more turns of sleep. But in this generation, when you switch it back in, you have all 3 turns again. So that makes sleep a lot more effective in this generation, and having a Pokemon with Spore that will automatically induce it is an excellent thing to have. I'm gonna skip the second move for now, and go to Toxic because this allows this Pokemon to be a double statuser and a very effective one as well, since Spore is something that people will not want to keep a sleeping Pokemon in on, so they'll switch out and then you can Toxic it, predicting it. Or you can either sub with when they switch out to get behind like a nice safety wall and then Toxic it from there. Or if you predict the switch to begin with and Toxic, this new move called Venom Shock, I abbreviated it there because it wouldn't fit on the line, is a new special poison move with 65 base power that doubles if the Pokemon that is being hurt is already poisoned. So if you use Toxic and then Venom Shock, you're hitting them with an 130 base power poison move, which is a lot. So it's a very useful special move to have, especially on a Pokemon that can induce Toxic so easily from with Spore to cause a switch, and then you Toxic on the switch. And then the last move is Giga Drain to keep it alive even more, and Giga Drain got a buff in this game, meaning that it has 75 base power now and 10 PP, so you can use it even more. So basically, Regeneration combined with Leftovers, combined with Giga Drain, with really high HP and really defense, makes this Pokemon really, really resilient, and it can survive for a really long time with this combination of moves. So you can send it in to Spore something, bring it back out, Regeneration will heal any damage it had or it received in the process, and then essentially you have a very long-lasting Pokemon with this set. Now this next set is more of a attacking one for this Pokemon. Modest Nature means it has increased special attack and decreased attack. Same ability as the last one, same HP EVs, but instead of 252 EVs for defense, you're now putting them into special attack. And Leftovers is still an effective item for this Pokemon because with Regeneration and Leftovers, you will stay alive for a while. Spore is obvious again because it's just kind of like what this Pokemon is going to do for now on. Its next move is Growth, which actually in this generation also got a buff because it now not only increases your special attack, but it also increases your physical attack as well. So if you wanted to have a grass type that learns growth and a lot of physical moves, you can do that now. But as for this Pokemon, uh, it's probably better to go special, even though it can go physical. And obviously the two attacking moves for it are going to be Sludge Bomb and Energy Ball, because those are the highest base power stab moves that it learns, as opposed, or other than Solar Beam, but I don't know if you're going to be wanting to set up a Solar Beam somewhere along those lines. But this is essentially going to probably be like a standard attacking set for this Pokemon, and it allows it to be fairly effective because after you spore, they're probably not going to stay in, so you at least get a free growth, which means you'll have +1 special attack and be able to do more damage because its attack or special attack and attack really aren't that great. So with the +1, you'll at least be able to do a nice chunk to whatever comes in. And in the same process, you're putting whatever to sleep, so it still makes this Pokemon an effective sleep inducer. So that's pretty much it for these sets for this new Pokemon. It's pretty unique, and it's probably not one of the best, but I think it's pretty cool looking, and it has a lot of possibilities because it is this generation's Spore Inducer. So let me know what you guys think about this Pokemon, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Bye guys!